Okay, this is in continuation of laws of indices. So this one has to do with law of reciprocal. In law of reciprocal, you know that reciprocal means inverse. For instance, if I say get what is the reciprocal of 2, the first thing you write is say 1 divided by this number, which is 2. 1 divided by is something as 1 over 2. Reciprocal of 3 means 1 divided by the same number 3 is something as 1 over 3. But if you are given 2 over 3, I say what is the reciprocal of this? You first of all write the same 1 divided by this 2 over 3. I know that this 1 is something as 1 over 1 divided by 2 over 3. So in fraction, anytime you see division, whether it's fact in mathematics, division changes to multiplication through inversion. When it's inverse, the number immediately after the division sign will change. So this division sign changes to multiplication. The number below will go to the top, and the number at the top will come down. So this is the meaning of inversion. This times this, 1 times 3 is 3 all over 1 times 2. So reciprocal means take 1 and divide the number. So but then, since we are talking about reciprocal in indices, how does it work? To know how it works, indices will give you something like this. X raised to power what? N. X raised to power minus n. Or they will give you guys that x raised to power of 1 over n is something as writing x raised to power of minus n. So these two guys are the same, and they have to do with what? Reciprocal. But then, if I put this thing outrightly, let me put it in numbers. I could as well say 2 raised to power minus 3 is something as saying, okay, let's say 2 raised to power minus 1 is something as saying 1 over 2. So these two guys are the same. Forgive me, I'm using words, but I'm just trying to illustrate what reciprocal is all about. So if I give you 1 over 3, it's something as writing 3 raised to power minus 2. Anyhow you want to go about it, that's the same. Then how do we use this knowledge to solve indices question? Okay, so if I put down this, I give you guys simplify. I say simplify 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 raised to power 3. How do we go about this? So the solution is very simple. Just put down the stuff. This is the thing. Now we can approach this in 2 ways. The first thing, we need to remember what law of reciprocal says. 1 over 2 is something as saying 2 raised to power minus 2. If it's 2, therefore it implies that 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 raised to power 3 will be 2 raised to power minus 1, see the same thing as this, times 2 raised to power 3. So our interest is this 2 now. If we work with these 2, you will recall that what the law of multiplication states, so which means we are now applying many laws for a particular question. So the law of multiplication has to do with checking what, if the bases are the same. Here the bases are the same, we use one base, and what we are dealing with here is what? Multiplication. Anytime you see multiplication, you add the powers. The powers here are minus 1 and 3. You say minus 1 plus 3. So this is 2 raised to power minus 1 plus 3. To give you 2 raised to power minus 1 plus 3 is what? 2. But you and I know that 2 raised to power 2, according to the first law of indices, which is the law of exponents, means you should repeat these 2 to the value of what? The power, and then put multiplication at the middle. 2 times 2 is nothing but 4. 4 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 120. 120 times 2 is 180. 180 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 times 2 is Therefore, it implies that the entire question, which is 1 over what? 2, multiplied by 2 raised to the power 3, is nothing but 4. Alternatively, another way to go about this would be, if you still want to go about this, you can take it in this way. You can take it in this way. This is another method of solving it. This 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 3. You and I know that 2 raised to the power 3 is something as saying 2 raised to the power 3 divided by 1. I have to do it this way because this guy is already fraction. So I'm trying to make this 2 raised to the power 3 to look like a fraction. So it implies that 1 over 2 times 2 raised to the power 3 will be the same thing as 1 over 2 times 2 raised to the power 3 all divided by 1. So when you get this, your interest will be, take the 1 multiplied by this. 1 times 2 raised to the power 3 is 2 raised to the power 3. All divided by this 2 times 1 is 2. But you know that 2 raised to the power 3 means repeat this 2 to the value of the power. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Therefore, 2 raised to the power 3 all over 2 is the same thing as saying, since 2 raised to the power 3 is 8, we write down 8 divided by 2. 8 over 2 is nothing but what? 4. So if you can recall, we discovered that this is as simple as ABCD. It's the same thing, the same question, but different ways of doing it. But all has to be almost, the solution has to come from probably application of a lot of reciprocal and the rest. So let me give you another one. If I give you solve, I'll give you solve. We have 1 over 5 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 4. So in this regard, you write solution. After solution, let's bring down this. We have 1 over 5 multiplied by 5 over 4. And as you can see, according to a lot of reciprocal, it tells us that 1 over 5 is the same thing as writing 5 raised to the power minus 1. So this guy implies that 1 over 5 times 5 raised to the power 4 is the same thing as saying this guy, which is 5 raised to the power minus 1, times this guy, 5 raised to the power 4. So this is a new guy that we are working with. We have to forget about this. So here we apply a lot of multiplication because we have multiplication and the bases are the same. So we drop one base, and since we have multiplication here, in indices multiplication is addition of what powers. And what are the powers? We have minus 1 plus 4, 4. So this means 5 raised to the power minus 1 plus 4. We have 5. Minus 1 plus 4 will give you 3. So but 5 raised to the power 3 means, according to law of exponents, repeat 5 to the value of the power. The value of the power is 3. So here 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. So therefore it implies that 1 over 5 multiplied by 5 raised to the power 4 is nothing but 125. So from here to United States, this is the answer. There is virtually no big deal whatsoever with regards to this. Okay, I have to clean it and go back to teach you guys more laws of what? Indices. The next law of indices I will touch here will be sometimes we'll give indices will come up with this. They'll give you, let's say, x raised to the power n. X raised to the power m multiplied by what? N. So I don't know the right name for this, but when you give this is another law of indices. When you are giving this type of thing, it will be, you can do this in two methods, but one of the methods is our interest will be on the powers. We have two powers here, n and what, m. So this will be, you just write down the base, which is x, and multiply what? You can recall that if you have 2 into x, it's same thing as saying 2 times x. So anytime we have multiplication, anytime we have brackets, it serves as multiplication. But while we are not multiplying the bases, we have nothing to do with the base. We have to use power to multiply power. So it becomes n multiply what? N. So this is something as saying x raised to the power n multiplied by what? N, which will surely give you x raised to the power mn. So from here to here is the same thing. Now the question is, how do we apply this technique here to solve a problem in mathematics? For instance, if I say simplify, I could as well say solve. If I say simplify 2 raised to the power 3 or raised to the power 2, how do we go about this? I can solve this 2 ways. The first method I will use here, I'll say solution. So let me bring down the question. We have 2 raised to the power 3 or raised to the power 2. It will be, using this technique here, my interest will be to use these two to multiply the power. The power is not 2, rather the power is 3. It will be 3 times what? 2. 2 raised to the power 3 times 2. We have 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So, it said by 2 raised to the power 6 means repeat the base. The base is 2 in 6 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we put multiplication in between. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. Therefore, 2 raised to the power 3 or raised to the power what? 2 will give you the same thing as 64. So the alternative method is, let's check if this will give us the same thing. Of course, if it doesn't give you the same thing, I advise you to quit watching my channels. Go to another channel to see to it. But then, the alternative method to this will be the same solution. So we have 2 raised to the power 3 or raised to the power 2. So for now, our interest will be, let us solve the one inside the bracket first. Solving the one inside the bracket, that means we have to deal with 2 raised to the power 3. And 2 raised to the power 3 means to repeat 2 to the value of the power, which is 3. 2 times 2 is what? 4. 4 times 2 is what? 8. Since we have gotten 8, anywhere you see 2 raised to the power 3, it means that 8 is there. So 2 raised to the power 3 or raised to the power 2 will be the same thing as saying 8, because this 2 raised to the power 3 is 8. 8 raised to the power what? 2. And 8 raised to the power 2 means 8. Put middle. 8 times 8 is 64. So virtually, math is the same all over the world. Math is a subject that doesn't lie. It doesn't lie. It tells you the truth and nothing but the truth. If you know it, you know it. If you don't know it, there is virtually no big deal whatsoever sake. Okay, so I could as well say solve. As well say solve. Or 3 raised to the power what? 4. Or raised to, let's say 3 raised to the power 2. Or raised to the power 3. So the solution to this will be, it said 3 raised to the power 2 or raised to the power 3. So if you do it this way, same thing as saying, you write down the base, use the power to multiply the power. We have 2 times 3. This is 3 raised to the power 6. According to a lot of exponents, 3 raised to the power 3, 6 means repeat the base, which is 3, to the value of the power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we put multiplication in between. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 will give us 81. 81 times 3 is 243. Wow. And 24 times 3 is, let me do it here, times 3. This is 9, this is 12, carry 1, this is 6. Okay, 729, I thought as much. Should give you 729. So therefore, this implies that 3 raised to the power 2 all raised to the power 3 is same thing as 729. So virtually there is no big deal whatsoever sake. So anytime you are giving anytime you are giving question that has to do with this type of stuff, so just do remember that you can follow either of the two methods I taught. You must seriously arrive to a definite answer, except if you are not applying the right thing. So the next law I will teach here is what I term as the law of fraction. So at times, if I give you something here, let's say we have x raised to the power what? N. Okay, let's just call it a over b. So anytime we have this law of fraction, it will be, this b will be the square root, the b root of the base. Let me make it clean. You draw this, you put b there, you put x inside, and you cross it, a becomes the power. And now this one will get many students it would carry many students away, but do not be carried away. You can still go back to watch this video over and over again to get to the root of this. So for instance, if I give you guys a question that looks like this, I say solve. If I give you guys to solve 8 raised to power 2 over 3, the solution to this would be 8 raised to power 2 over 3 is nothing but if you apply this technique here, you first of all put square roots. Your 3 is the same thing as b, then 8 is x. You put brackets and you surround it with 2 to be the power. So here, the numerator here, if you take this guy off, we have 2 over 3. This 3 is the denominator, 2 is the numerator. So when you have the fractional power, if you have a fractional power, the root side becomes what? The denominator, and the power side becomes the numerator. And this guy is asking a simple question. The question is, what number can multiply itself 3 times to give you what is inside the bracket? What number can multiply itself 3 times? Itself, not any number, but itself 3 times to give you what is inside the bracket. So if you use 1, you have to multiply 1 3 times. 1 times 1 times 1. 1, 2, 3. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is also 1. So 1 is not 8. So this is out of 8. You try 3. You say, it could be 3. Okay, 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 alone is 9, which is more than this. And 9 times this is 27. So this is way too big. So we clean it and go back. If we go back and try 2, 2 here will be 2 times 2 times 2. It must go 3 times, you must repeat it. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 is that number that can multiply itself 3 times to give us 8. So this is what the question is asking you. So in this regard, he said that 8 is the same thing as 2 raised to the power 3. So therefore, we are going to get 2. So 2 is the only number that can multiply itself 3 times to give us 8. So therefore, when we take care of this, the inner one, we get 2. They say all over what? This guy, which is 2. We have solved the middle one, the external one will be left. So this guy is something as 2 raised to the power 2, which is 2, 2. Put brackets, 4. If you point this on calculator, it must definitely give you what? 4.